confronted the woman. The husband got to know about it and went back to marry the side chick. So what would she have done?
It's like in your face.
In your face.
Do nothing.
There is nothing
you can do. Let me hear your comments.
Either you bait or you go out. It's as simple as that. So this is a comment from Ade. Ade is from the UK. He said, "Good evening, ladies. The woman took advantage on the girl because she's a small girl," which was what I said.
Yeah.
And she can try this with a high-class city girl. She will be disgraced, she will be disgraced live in public. What of a married woman playing an away match? This indiscipline happens in a bad relationship, which was what
you
I
said. Let me take Ifeanyi. I think he's back again from Angola. Ifeanyi, are you there? The line is buzzing today. Thank you for calling. Let's hear what you have to say quickly.
Hello?
Go ahead, Ifeanyi. We can hear you live.
Okay. Yeah, I'm enjoying your discussion.
Thank you.
So, yeah, why do have this issue? Sometimes we find out that it's not the issue of the man. But sometimes the character of the man is the man outside. The character of some of the wives is the man outside. And that's why you find out that there's the man of the son. And sometimes this our wife push us.
Thank you, Ifeanyi. I think we ran out of time. I hear you, but this is not the conversation for tonight. We didn't ask you why you having a side chick.
That's not a side chick.
Okay, so Raphael Akori.
Because of the character of the woman, that will now make the man go outside. So what if the woman is married to a bad man?
So she should go outside.
She should also go outside.
So Raphael Akori says, in this life, two wrongs can never make a right. That's why we need wisdom and understanding to keep a home. Exactly. Chicks are usually pets, and when they are referred to as side chick, it means temporary relationship. Okay, Jenny, last call.
This temporary
I've also seen a situation whereby a man married his side chick along with his wife, and they both know about it.
Austin from Benin is our final call for today. We can't take any other call again. Austin, are you there?
Good evening.
Quickly, let's leave it in a minute, quickly.
Good evening.
Thank you, Austin, for calling. Let's hear what you have to say.
What I have to say is like this. There is no need for the woman. What the woman did was wrong. There's no need for that, because you will even aggravate the issue. Yes, if you go about fighting the side chick, see, no man really wants to. This business of side chick is not. It's an expensive business. A lot of responsible men don't want to go into it. If they have a choice, they don't want. Of course, their choice is their wife. So keep your home in order. Make your husband happy, and that's it. And this side chick thing will not be a problem.
I saw a picture of a pastor. I mean, a person. I sent it to them that they should please post it. They said, please. He said, even men of God, they entertain the preachers that come to preach with side chicks. So as a woman out there, this side chick business ain't going nowhere. So you better own it and accept it. And if you cannot deal with it, leave the relationship. But for you to stoop low to go and beat another woman because she's having an affair with your husband, I think that is a complete no-no.
How many people will you beat?
I'll be my sister.
The whole of the world, or the whole of Nigeria.
Because you want to maintain your relationship. Look, concentrate on your spouse and fix the marriage. Thank you. How about you, Jennifer, in like a minute, a second?
A lot of these men have been saying the women should act better. They keep forgetting that a lot of these men are also badly behaved. And you have women that are doing the right things in their home, and these men are still stepping out. Women, all I have to say to you is this. Believe in yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah? If your man is not giving you what you want, there are thousands of men out there.
Absolutely.
You either leave the marriage and get something good for yourself, or you stay and suffer.
Thank you.
So there's no two ways about it. Pick Pick A or B. It's up to you.
Okay,
to
so
be honest.
before we go, a friend of mine just sent me a message that I have to read. He said, this side chick topic vex you. I beg, who is this girl? Make we go flog her for you. I know they flog anybody. He said, all right, so before we go do and show you, thank you, ladies. Thank you, Issy. Thank you, Jennifer. We had a fantastic conversation. Sorry we couldn't take all the calls, but thank you to everyone that called and sent in their messages. Now, before we go do and show you, follow us on Instagram. It's at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment. Most importantly, we're planning a giveaway to say thank you to you for believing in the waistband and following the conversation. Do well to follow us now. It's at PlusTvAfrica. Invite your family and friends to also watch the show. So if you missed today's quote, it's a very short quote. Here it is again. Where's my quote? It says, you can't compete with the woman, a man can't live alone. So this is for you women there. Stop chasing a side chick. It is your husband that cannot leave the girl alone. All right, we'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. From the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Nigeria moves to allow Twitter work in the country again. But what is the real cost of the ban on the social media site? We'll be finding out this morning.
Football leagues resume across Europe with a lot of excitement. Lionel Messi will be playing outside La Liga for the first time. And Romelu Lukaku is back to Chelsea. We'll talk all about that.
Plus our regulars of the press and top trending, and also today in history. We'll say good morning and welcome to a Friday morning on Plus TV Africa. It is The Breakfast. Thanks for joining us. I am Osaugie Ogbawa.
And I am Annette Felix. Good morning to you and good morning, Osaugie.
Morning to you.
So our top trending story today, the first one, I find it both hilarious and saddening because it's something we've seen time and time again, and that's the conflict between religion, right? We've talked about how pastors defraud members, even these members going ahead to protest, in churches and things like that. Now, what we're seeing with Pastor or Apostle John Suleiman, we don't really have the details clear yet because, they've taken this to the police. It's still being investigated and all of that. But the story is that Apostle John Suleiman had transferred money to members of his church, both in Edo State and out of the country. And this particular concerned citizen, took this up with his own means of investigation, going ahead to say that this was fake, this was a scam, and that Apostle John Suleiman was using money angels to basically defraud his members. And there are publications online that surfaced yesterday. The church has responded, saying, yeah, they have a right to express themselves, but that they were wrong in the accusations. And they took this up and arrested the man involved. His lawyer, Inibe Effiong, said that he spent about 10 hours in cell with his client, and that's after meeting all the stringent bail conditions except one. So the issue here, the issues here are many. First of all, the church and money is something that we've debated for a long time. Apostle John Suleiman has been in the news for controversial reasons many times before, but we understand his huge following, and you can understand, people who come out on social media to defend him, even though we don't know the facts of the case as of yet.
Well, the facts of the case are pretty simple. According to Inbehe Effiong, who is representing Israel Balogun. Israel Balogun is the guy who was arrested. Apparently, Apostle Johnson Suleiman had claimed that he had angels send money to certain members of the church, and also some people in Atlanta, Georgia, I believe. And of course they received alerts, from these angels, and so Israel Balogun, of course, on his own platform, spoke up and debunked those claims and said that it's not possible that angels will send money to anybody. And, all of that. He then, of course, Apostle Suleiman then wrote a petition to the Nigerian police, who then picked up Israel Balogun and accused him of defamation and cyber stalking or whatever.
Saying he was calling him a Yahoo man, a fraudster working in connection with Hush Puppy.
Which he obviously has a right to do, and everybody has their Twitter platform as long as it's not in any way. He should share his thoughts on what he feels. If he feels like you're lying, he will say you're lying, yes. Okay. If he feels that you're being fraudulent, he should say you're being fraudulent. If he, of course, can back up those claims. And the challenge here now is, according to Inibehe Effiong, because I watched a video yesterday where Inibehe Effiong is then saying, if you feel like Israel Balogun was wrong, then show us these angels. Bring these people who received a lot from angels. Let's look at their bank statements and see which angels sent money to them, including the person who's in Atlanta, Georgia. And then, of course, went further to say that why don't we also use these angels to fund Edo State and fund the Nigerian economy? If angels can send money to a person or send money to people's bank accounts. So the case is pretty simple. It's a pretty simple case. What the challenge really is here, and it's going back to, of course, me referring to the Hush Puppy case, where, fraudsters, basically, and anybody can use that level of influence to ask the police to do their bidding. And that's exactly what it is. And so he, like Hush Puppy did, with the Vincent case, asked Oga Supercop, a.k.a., Babariga seller, to arrest Vincent for his own personal reasons. And of course, they went ahead and did it and locked him up and beat him, up, according to these allegations, beat him up until he was, hospitalized. It's pretty much the same thing with this case. Now, Israel Balogun was arrested, was sent to the police station in Garki. And then they gave him very, very stringent bail conditions that you would expect for a murderer or a kidnapper or someone who has committed very, very serious crimes, and not, for someone who simply debunked your claims on his own social media platform. And that's really what the case is about. Why does, Apostle Suleiman not allow that someone will be able to say, okay, I don't believe in the things that you've said? And why is the police so easy to do the bidding of supposed rich or influential people in Nigeria? That's really what this whole case is about. And it's embarrassing, both for the Nigerian police and for Apostle Suleiman. And I hope that as this case progresses, that he will be able to at least show that his claims were true. And angels actually did send money to these people, where these angels came from, how much they received, and, some of all those extra details necessary here.
Fly fees.
Yeah, if the angel was using BVN or whatnot. There has to be, because listen, Christianity has suffered so much from characters who set up church as a source of income, as a business. And it's one of the reasons a lot of people these days would say, okay, I'd rather just stay at home and speak to my God than go to any church, because I don't even believe in these churches anymore. And it's not saying that all of the churches are fraudulent. There's some, I believe, that some really, really genuine, Christian bodies. But because of these, cases here and there, where pastors can do whatever it takes to ensure that they grow their numbers and they grow their following and grow their popularity, that's why Christianity itself has continued to suffer.
But to be honest, right, if Apostle John Suleiman can believe in the extraordinary of using angels to send money to followers, I wonder why he didn't, go that route when it comes to finding justice. Because why then do you have to go ahead and involve the police? I mean, that's a form of injustice on its own, because you feel that you have the funds to do so, because you feel that you can buy, those police officers, and those people will just go ahead and arrest people simply because. It just seems unfair. And then when you look at the bail conditions, that's just another kettle of fish. These issues continue with our law enforcement, our judiciary, and I really don't know when this will end.
I was just going to chip in. There is, I don't think we need to go too far, to determine whether these miracles actually happen. It didn't happen. There's no need to argue, the level of faith that you have. This investigation should actually be
easy to conduct.
Yeah, there's no need to be digging deep into the kind of faith that you
Bank
have.
records.
To show that angels sent anybody money. It didn't happen. Neither did any Babalawo. Neither did nobody, from the spiritual realm paid money into anybody's account. They might as well just brought cash to you instead of paying into your account. So all these claims, did not in any way happen. And there's no need going too far.
I really want to hear the side of Apostle John Suleiman. Like, I want to have him address this issue because, when I started, talking about this, I mentioned that we don't have all the facts because what we just saw is that, letter he wrote back, the petition. But we want to hear from Pastor Apostle John Suleiman help us break down exactly what he meant when he said it was angels that sent that money. We want to get the details, we want to get the facts. And then we can look at both sides and say, okay, maybe things actually happen supernaturally that that's just beyond our comprehension. I want to give him that benefit of the doubt. Well,
hopefully we get to speak with Inebehe Effiong himself, who's a lawyer to the accused.
All right, so in Lagos, the Lagos State government has actually shut down about 20 different pharmacies and patent medical clinics. And, this was in certain areas and in Shomolu, Bariga, Oronshoki areas of Lagos State. They said that these, it was a statement actually from the State Commissioner for Health, Professor Aki Abayomi, yesterday, Thursday. He said that these affected pharmacies and patent medicine stores had contravened certain regulations that guides the operation of pharmacies and patent medical stores, that they were indulging in illegal practices, they were failing to comply with regulatory standard. It just went on, and quoting sections of the Provisions Act of 1999, talking about fake drugs, counterfeit medicines and all of that. So There were concerns with how these drugs were stored. There were concerns with the fact that they didn't have enough license or the approved licenses, that they were selling drugs that were not approved. So just lots of concerns there. I think that's a good one, but my question really would be, how many people have been victims of these counterfeit medicines? You know, how late really did they come? Yeah. Because we know people, we've heard experiences, even if we don't know anyone personally, we've heard experiences of people, you know, falling victim to fake medication. I've heard of people who died simply because they took fake malaria medication. So if these drugstores have been able to function, operate for months and maybe even years, you know, it makes me ask questions, why now? Why did it take so long before, you know, these people were caught? What does it take to open a pharmacy store? Do you just go ahead, rent a shop and just paint it white and start, you know, stocking up drugs? You know, really, how late was this action?
Well, you know, it's obvious that there's a lot of work that needs to be done with regards cleaning up what Nigerians consume. You know, NAFDAC, of course, has had that responsibility for a long time. People have criticized NAFDAC for not being as effective as they should, but of course, I'm sure that they also do what they can with the resources available to them. The Lagos State government, of course, you know, has, you know, taken that responsibility also to protect, you know, residents of Lagos from these fake medicine stores and these, you know, registered, you know, medicine stores or off-the-counter medicine stores. So there's a lot of work, and you know, you cannot really in any way quantify the damage that these stores, you know, may have caused to residents of Lagos. You know, the healthcare system in Nigeria is not, you know, big or strong enough to be able to verify what a person, you know, the cause of a person's sickness, you know, that may have come from a fake, you know, drug that the person bought. Some of these things could cause cancer. Some of these things could, you know, cause, you know, organ damage, you know, and there's so much work that needs to be done. And that also includes those guys in the market. If you go to any very, you know, small market around Lagos, you must see some of all those guys selling drugs in wheelbarrows or have very, very, very small
Even
shop.
on the roads, at Obalende, they're there, you know, in Yaba, they're just in the open air.
Which, you know, are not in any way registered with, you know, the Nigerian Pharmaceutical Society or any of all those organizations. And so there's so much work that needs to be done. Unfortunately, yes, I understand drugs are expensive. A lot of people can't afford drugs in the big, you know, named pharmacies across Lagos. But at the same time, you know, we also need to not use that excuse of how expensive drugs are to poison ourselves. You know, I also get to see, and, you know, I don't know how this happens, but those people who sell some things in bottles with leaves,
they call them agbo, they call them herbs, they call them...
those things, So I'm not...
They're now even being sold on social media, so it's almost mainstream now.
Yeah, but I think that I don't know, I feel, you know, there has to be some level of regulation with those things also, because I don't know how they work. And I've seen people buy those things and they say, give me 15 naira of this and 20 naira of this and, you know, 100 naira of that, and they all mix everything in the bottle and chicken, and it's brownish and looking very odd.
The fact is, when it comes to herbs, right, herbs, when you even look at, you know, religious texts like the Bible, you know, it talks about God giving us herbs for medicine, right? And it is indeed fact that there are some herbs that you can grow or, you know, get in the wild or purchase that can help, you know, cure some ailment. And we know these traditional agbo sellers in Lagos, in the western parts of the country, you know, where they sell these things, they're able to, they have knowledge of these things, they're able to mix them for you. But the challenge now is not with the herbs and, you know, the efficacy. It's now people who are trying to exploit that for the purpose of making money, who now take that a step further. They now have factories that are, you know, unapproved. I've heard of people bribing a NAFDAC and SON just so that they can get the approval to manufacture those things in their houses. But, you know, that one is a valid issue that should be looked into. But the issue of people now going further to purchase fake medication from countries in Asia and bring it here, knowing fully well that these drugs are not good enough. These drugs actually are counterproductive to your health. That is, I mean, this should be punishable by the law. This is a serious offense because you're intentionally...
I think you're going too far, even talking about Asia. There's a lot of these drugs that are just
manufactured
chalk.
Here.
It's just chalk, really, you know, and it's packaged. It's, you know, beautifully packaged, and, you know, given a name that everybody knows, and that's it.
Or even one letter change, and if you're not extra careful, you won't notice that it's fake.
There's a lot of times, I'm sure everyone must have experienced this, when they take a medication and it doesn't work. They buy medication from a pharmacy, maybe not a very, very big name pharmacy, but they, get some drugs, they take it and it doesn't work. It's either of two things. Either your body has, started to either not function with that particular medication, you need to increase your dosage, or look for a different brand, or that is just fake medicine. And that's really what it is. So there's so much work that needs to be done. I always like to be in the middle and say, I always like to be in the middle and say, I understand, the concerns of people and being able to afford medication in some of these pharmacies, because there's certain types of even paracetamol that you get into a pharmacy these days and tell you it's 3,000 naira or 4,000 naira for just a card of paracetamol or Panadol. But of course, the roadside sellers will sell that same thing, for 200 naira or 100 naira. So I understand the concerns with being able to afford some of these medications, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done so that we can at least reduce the amount of people who fall sick or who have terminal illnesses from buying drugs in some of these medicine stores. And everybody should go through some type of regulation, including the agbo sellers. It's not banning them, and yes, like you mentioned, herbs are important. They are part of the things that, are also medicinal. But I feel like there should be just a little bit of regulation, even if it's just in the hygiene aspect of it. How are these things made? Where are they made from? The places where they're, mixed and produced, are they clean enough for, consumption later on, all of that? So we don't start a new virus here in Nigeria.
Yes. And lastly, our top trending story is about security. So we know that the southern governors have been, meeting recently, talking about ways to end, this farmers' headers crisis and all of that. And they had set a timeline for September to fully implement the anti-open grazing law. But it's August 12th, and we saw the Osun Assembly passing this anti-open grazing bill. They're saying that to make sure that farmers and herders clash are reduced. And they said that it's criminalizing open grazing in Osun State. And this is meant to prevent the killing of farmers, is to prevent sexual molestation, environmental degradation, pollution. This is ranching by minors. You can see, obviously, that guy looks like a teenager. Yeah. And you see lots of them, holding their sticks and, shepherding their cattle. So it's criminalizing, minors doing that. And the bill is also stipulating a 3-year imprisonment without the option of fine if you contravene that law. So like I mentioned, other states, they've all come together to say by September they should be able to make this among all southern states. We've heard people in the breakfast that we've had representing the Cattle Breeders Association saying that, oh, this will backfire. They have so and so million amounts of cattle herders across the country. This will destabilize us to, lots and lots of threats. But let's see if this will be one of the solutions finally. We've heard lots of anti-open grazing, but it really doesn't hold much water. It just seems like it doesn't go beyond the headlines. When it comes to actual implementation in those states, do the state governments go ahead to make sure that that's a reality? So what steps are they taking? Are they enforcing more border control? Are they actually creating those ranches? Are they communicating with these herders in those communities to let them know that this is what you need to do if you want to rear cattle? So there's a lot of background work that needs to be done before, these things just become law. Because, at the fundamental level of lawmaking, consultation with stakeholders is key. Yeah. What do you think, Osaoye?
So I think, I agree with, most of what you said. I think, it's a first step. It's a big step, but it's a first step also with regards protecting lives and property of, people in the Nigerians generally. And the governors have made their, taken their decision. And everybody needs to, go with it, because the lives that have been lost because of the grazing and the farmers' herders clashes have been too much to just ignore in Nigeria. The conversation about justice for these lives, it's a totally different conversation. That's a wider conversation. But for now, I think, these steps need to be taken. But at the same time, it's also important that they start to look with regards to state police and look at how they can better protect residents of their states, because some of all these killings and kidnappings don't happen because of cattle. Some of them are really just murder that happens. I've been seeing reports of Enugu State lately, that are very, very troubling. But I don't think that has a lot to do with cattle. So whatever is necessary that needs to be done, they should go ahead and do it. If they feel like the ban on open grazing, is important, then yes, they should go ahead and do that. But at the same time, security needs to be improved. Nigeria's security, setup is too poor for a country of 200 million people, the giant of Africa. It's just too poor. And we don't have enough, police officers. We don't have enough, information technology with regards security. We don't have enough of anything concerning security.
Indeed,
and a lot needs to be done.
If I am to make any recommendation, it would be that this state policing thing should, be concluded soon enough, because if this state creation thing goes through, if INEC really does the referendum and states, residents in areas decide that they want their own state, about 20 new states to be created, we would need the recruitment, massive recruitment of, local law enforcement agencies to make sure that, the security challenges, don't escalate to
Not very likely,
dimension.
but we'll see how it goes. We can barely deal with 36. Anyway, let's move on.
You're good with it.
We'll take a short break. When we come back, Jide Johnson will be joining us with Off the Press, and we get to look at the major stories making headlines across Nigeria this morning.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on PlusTvAfrica.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the results of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, have you?
I am not hungry. If I need appointment, all I need to do is to start praising government.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say. The moment we stop having charlatans occupy political offices, we will curtail hate speech.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
You're welcome back to the Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. It's now time for Off the Press. Let's invite our guest, a chief lecturer at the Nigerian Institute of Journalism, Jide Johnson. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, and thank God it's Friday.
Fantastic.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
All right, let's begin with the Guardian newspaper. COVID-19, 3 states at risk as federal government suggests precision lockdown. Ex-President Shagari's wife dies of COVID-19 complications. Stakeholders disturbed as Nigeria, others lose $3.8 billion to environmental degradation. APC Group 6 Osinbajo presidency in 2023. Dubai-based returnee lover found dead in their Imo apartment. Also, PDP asks court to sack Buni as governor, swear-in party's candidate. Anambra, how rancorous primaries boost relatively unknown parties. Let's quickly now turn to the next newspaper. Let's look at The Nation or The Punch. It says COVID-19 free rise. States defend community testing. Stoppage. Experts warn of disaster. No mass testing if someone fails somehow. We test. Ekiti Task Force Coordinator. Decision to stop community testing dangerous. Wrong. Short-sighted, says Tomori.
All right, now let's go to the Nigerian Tribune and see what stories we can find over there. The big one is on the PDP, of course, and Mai Mala Buni, the Yobe State governor. It says the PDP goes to court once Buni sacked as Yobe governor. Accuses him of holding 2 offices at the same time. Says PDP governorship candidate in last election should be sworn in. Restructure Nigeria now to end agitation for secession, says Anyoku. Nigeria shuts UK High Commission as diplomats test positive for COVID-19. Also, Shehu Shagari's widow dies in isolation center. Federal government receives 177,600 doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccines. Target elderly. Court dismisses Evans' 200 million naira suit against police over seized 25 trucks. And TED Fund injected 2.5 trillion naira in varsities and others in 10 years, says the federal government. Osun Assembly passes anti-open grazing bill. Missing Islamic cleric found dead inside vehicle in Ogun State. Those are the big ones on the Nigerian Tribune this morning.
Let's take a look at the Nation newspaper. Striking doctors slammed with no work, no pay rule. Resident doctors summoned by industrial court. We won't surrender. Strike not best option to seek action. Governors Forum cautions medics. APC senator writes off Buhari's 774,000 public works jobs. Family plans on autopsy on Faremi. Buhari, Tinubu, others mourn. And COVID-19 toll. Nigeria's UK High Commission shot. Government buying 40 million Johnson & Johnson for $298.5 million. Lagos retrieves oxygen plans. Delta variants now dominant. Also, bank CEOs, how Forex buyers, firms undermine CBN policy. Kidnapped chief imam found dead in Ogun. And we also saw the story here on the Nation newspaper saying PDP asked court to sack Buni as governor.
Pretty much same things on the Daily Independent. Federal government rules out lockdown despite rising COVID-19 cases. Says it has spent 122 billion naira on 29 million doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccines. Considers no work, no pay rule against striking doctors. Indonesia apologizes over manhandling of Nigerian diplomat. 11 hostages escape from bandits' camp in Kaduna. And also 17.5 billion naira flood funds. I have nothing to hide from EFCC, says Dixon. We've heavily depleted Boko Haram fighting force in Northeast, says Defense Headquarters. And Raymond Dokbesi says only a northerner can win presidency for PDP in 2023. PDP asks court to remove Yobe governor and deputy from office. And Mark Kalu Gana Wachiku Akilu say IBB assembled best brains for Nigeria as Nigeria shuts UK embassy as diplomats test positive for COVID-19. Jide Johnson, good morning once again.
It's a pleasure to be with you. Good morning.
All right. Pretty interesting stories. I think we should start from the PDP's call for Yobe State Governor to step down, mostly because of the accusations of holding two offices.
So the best way to build democratic system and representative government is to test every action under the constitutionality of the action. Constitutionalism is the key to democratic representative governance. So they should go to court, and the best way to test actions or inactions is to go to court and let the court rule on the matter, whether the governor has a right to combine the office of the governor of the state with that of managing the party. And it's good for our democracy. It's really good for our democracy. So until the court rule, we are in a state of confusion as to what should be and what ought to be. But under basic, for example, you can't keep two jobs. You can't be working in PlusTV and at the same time working in another media organization. You can't combine that. So if you can't combine two jobs, if it's totally against the labor law, I don't see why the governor should combine two jobs. But it is not left for you and I to decide. It's left for the court to rule on the matter. And I like the way they approach the court. If Amici did not approach the court, he will not be the governor he was some few years ago, having lost out in the power play in PDP. So we need to test the constitutionality of those actions in court, and that it's important. It's important for us to do that, to establish that fact, so that someone does not make that mistake if it's a mistake in the future, and governance does not suffer at the expense of managing the party. Because if you look at it with the third eye, definitely UB is suffering, because where the governor is meant to have meeting with the state executive council and other various MDs in the state, is busy running around looking for people to join the party, recruiting governors, senators, and House of Rep members and members of National Working Committee of the opposition party into his party, and organizing Photoshop with those people with the president. They go to Aso Rock and take picture with the president.
Judy Johnson, does it matter? Does it matter if it is not a paid employment? The second job that we're talking about now.
It doesn't really matter, because the reason why you are elected as the executive governor of a state is to manage the state resources, manage the state affair for a period of time, and not to combine that with other functions. So it really matters. It really matters. Don't forget, Buni was the national secretary of APC before he took over from Gendam until 2019, before he resigned to contest the election. Until 2018, rather, before he resigned to contest the primaries, and he won the primaries, he took over from Gaidam. And Gaidam too was the governor that spent 10 years as a governor. Most people did not know that, because he was a former deputy governor before So shortly after his governor was elected, the governor died, and he spent the remaining 2 years, and he won election for 2 terms. So he was one of the governors that spent 10 years, because in Yobe people don't pay attention. So until you test would that happen again? Until you test the constitutionality of the actions, we don't know whether what we are doing is right or whether what we are doing is wrong. The beauty of our democracy is that PDP governors over sovereign went forward. PDP governors took Obasanjo to court severally, and they won at the Supreme Court in establishing some of the principles and some of the gains that the present state government are enjoying when it comes to their federal government and state government relationship. So it's important. It's important. There's no way you tell me that Yobe State is not suffering from the governor not being around all the time and facing the party. My advice is that if he wants to run the party, he should leave. Because part of him that runs the party as national secretary when Oshiomhole was the chairman, because he was national secretary for Oshiomhole before he resigned to contest the election. Part of him is still there. So if he wants to do that, he should forget about public administration and face partisan politics.
All right.
Once you are elected, you are not meant to be partisan.
All
you are
right,
elected as the governor. Okay.
Yes, let's move to another story. Lots of big ones, including this the NARD strike, striking doctors slammed with no work, no pay rule. That story is still there. The doctors are insisting that they won't surrender, and they say that the no work, no pay rule really has no effect on them if they're striking in the first place because they haven't been paid.
This issue of doctors going on strike, we've discussed this over. It will happen again next year. It will happen again until, you know what, until we decentralize labor in Nigeria. Why should a doctor in Lagos be collecting the same amount with a doctor in Kaura Namoda, or with a doctor in Yobe State, in Jigawa State, or in Anambra State? Doctors should be paid based on the contingency, based on the comparative advantage that you have in the area. And I tell people this, whether we like it or not, the doctors are stretched. But if you situate what the doctors are getting to what others are getting nationwide, you see that doctors are pampered in Nigeria. An average doctor, once he graduates from school, enters the civil service at level 12. Every other person enters the civil service at level 8. It's there. And then there's nowhere in the world, I've asked people to tell me this, there's nowhere in the world whereby you have doctors practicing in public institutions and operating their own private hospital. I want anybody to tell me where it happens. I want anyone to tell me, to give me that. So doctors, the practices they do in Nigeria, what they enjoy in Nigeria, they don't enjoy anywhere else. An average doctor in public hospital in Nigeria has his own private hospital. I can say that without a fact. Can you have your own private business where you are working now?
Okay.
So it's important. We understand that they are pressured. We understand that the number of doctors we have are not enough. But at the same time, they should also look at the comparative advantage they get from working in Nigeria.
Okay,
I
Jide
can
Johnson.
talk about medical industry.
Yeah, Jide Johnson. So
Because
right now, the federal government has taken this matter to the industrial court, asking the doctors to show reason why they should continue with their strike. What kind of judgment may you be expecting from that industrial court?
Now, should you be paid for not working? It's a basic rule. Should you be paid for not working? How many times have doctors gone on strike? How many times? How many times? In 1992, I remember my dad was sick. The doctors went on strike. I'm telling you for a fact. 2018, 2019, my wife was sick. I knew the number of days, months that I spent in the hospital. The doctor went on strike. If I document my experience with the medical industry, with the state of hospital in Nigeria, you'll be shocked. They went on strike. My wife was on treatment. She was on chemotherapy. There was nobody anywhere to attend to her. So I know what I'm talking about.
But it's
All you need to do, they move you to their private hospital. You can go and do your check.
Yeah, but Jide Johnson, it's not justification for not being paid salaries or not having better hazard allowances.
No, they are fighting over. They are not. It's not that they are not being paid salary. They are fighting over allowances.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that they have their private.
It's over. I agree with you that they should be paid their allowances, but should they go totally on strike and expect to be paid their salaries? You get paid for what you are not working for. I have told you, look, which sector in Nigeria is enjoying what the doctors are enjoying? I'm throwing it to you. Which sector? Every sector is affected. The education, are teachers getting what they deserve?
Jide Johnson, well,
every sector.
So how would you suggest that they express themselves better?
Look, how do they express?
Yeah. So how do they put out their concerns to the government better?
If I were to be in the position of federal government, well, I've said it. We need to decentralize it. We need to federalize. We don't need to unitarize labor so that each state will pay. Each state will pay its doctor according to what it can afford. And that's what I would do. And then the next thing I would do is that if we give you all what you want, you will not engage in private practices.
Exactly, Jide Johnson, and exactly where I was going. That they might
if we
put
give
up a
you
defense.
Government give them everything you want, and anyone that engages in private, you prosecute. You prosecute them.
Jada Johnson, I said that's where I'm going. That most of these doctors, I say the reason why they engage in those private practices because they're hardly getting anything from their 9-to-5 jobs or their jobs, with the government. But let's quickly move on from that now. Lots of other big stories on the papers. There's this one that we've seen on the papers. It talks about an apology from the Indonesian government to the federal government regarding that assault on the Nigerian diplomat. First of all, we've talked about how Nigerians are seen abroad, and what do you think the response might have been if the citizen was not a Nigerian, maybe if it was a U.S. national? Do you think that assault would have ever taken place in the first place? And what sort of diplomatic moves do you expect the government to do, apart from recalling that diplomat? And that's to, put up a strong message out to other countries. Jada Johnson. Okay, there seems to be a technical glitch. Jada Johnson, can you hear us?
You loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So you recall during COVID-19, there's a particular case in China where Nigerians were singled out by the Chinese government, and there was a Nigerian diplomat that challenged them for that. He was maltreated. What do we do? We didn't do anything. Now I saw that incident. What that guy was doing it to the president of Nigeria. He was doing it to the president of Nigeria. So any member of a foreign diplomatic corps that is harassed, whatever is done to that person, is being harassed. It's the president of Nigeria that is being harassed. He must be treated with dignity. It's against international law and treaty. What I expected the president to have done is to have called for the letter of credence of the ambassador of Indonesia to Nigeria. He will withdraw his letter of credence. That's the highest form of sending messages diplomatically, rather than requiring for an apology. What will an apology? The damage has been done. You withdraw the letter of credence. You invite the ambassador and you talk to the ambassador. I saw the foreign affairs minister giving a press conference. That does not solve the problem. That will make it to happen again because they know we don't pull our weight. If you don't pull your weight, if someone maltreats your children and he gets away with it, he will do it over and over and over and over. Even for Togo, Republic of Benin, you have not seen their diplomats being harassed all over the world. It's only Nigerian diplomats that are harassed and harassed, and because we don't do anything, To hell with their apology. Who needs the apology? Who needs the apology?
Now, let's talk about a statement.
It's an insult to.
Let's talk about a statement on Daily Independent. It's from Raymond Dokpese, I believe, who says that only a northerner can. Only a northerner can win presidency for PDP in 2023. And that is from Dokpese.
Don't you know that it's very clear that this battle for the soul of PDP by Wiki over that removal of secondos is about ensuring that they have control over that party. It's very clear. I will tell you, you have not had anything from Kwankwaso. Kwankwaso, since the last election, you have not had anything. He has not contributed any meaningful. He has not made any meaningful contribution to public discourse in the last 2 years. By next year or towards the tail end of this year, will come out to be presidential candidate. It's very, very clear. Just wait 2 to time. Article 2 will come out, despite selective comments in it. Tamboa that has remained quiet, but that took over the PDP Governors Forum chairman, will also come out. So it's evidently clear the stakes are higher for them. And then if they are strategic as a party, they will look at their chances of winning the presidency. I have said it loud and clear that the PDP, not even before now, since 2019, that PDP's presidential candidate will come from the north. It's clear. It's clear from all indication. The actors and the players in the party, majority of them are where? They are from the north. So who are the presidential candidates that you have in PDP that have muscles in the southwest, in the southeast, and in the south? It's only Wiki that you have in the south. Does he have what it takes to be the president of Nigeria? It's left for the Nigerian electorate to decide. It's not left for Jide Johnson to decide. Seyi Makinde in the southwest is the only governor that they have. Okay, Will he want to risk certainty for uncertainty? Will he want to seek second time as a governor or to pursue presidential ambition? It's all left there for every one of us to see. And then in the southeast, the governors, we don't even know whether the southeast governors are in PDP or they are in APC or they are hibernated. So there's only two of them that is left, and where they belong to, you don't really know. So it's just the other person in the south, the governor of Akwa Ibom State. So it's clear. This thing is like a game. You study the game. You look at the actors and the players, and then you know, like chess, because politics is like chess. It's a power play. You understand those that are pawns, those that are bishops, those that are rooks, and those that are king and queen. So the kingmakers of the party are aware the stakes are higher for people in the north than people in the south. And if they are strategic about it, they position themselves to bring the presidency from the south. And in 1999, Constitution does not have any provision. I say that without it. Does not have any provisions for rotational presidency. It does not have any provision. There's no power rotation in 1999 Constitution. It's just a PDP arrangement that they put in place, and their last president, they can justify that their last president was from the south, so they can say that now that they want to bring their next president from the north. So
okay, Judah Johnson,
see how it pans out.
So let's talk about auditing government policies. An APC senator was at a conference yesterday, and one of the statements he made was about condemning the 774,000 jobs, for the public works. And he says that the 52 billion naira that was earmarked for that could have been used to set up industries, factories, and other revenue-generating streams in Nigeria, rather than a system of money sharing that is now causing youth restiveness. And he said that even the 60,000 naira that was promised to each of these youth at the end of 3 months have not even been given to them, and that that has just been causing lots of fights in that system. So talking about auditing government processes, going back to this, remember when Festus Keyamo came up with this whole 774,000 jobs? It cost quite a stay at that time, and the jobs was menial jobs like cleaning gutters and all of that, and people really asked, is that what government would call empowerment of the youth? Looking back now, would you say that program was successful, or just like this APC senator, that 52 billion naira could have been used for more long-term projects that will benefit a wider number of people?
They call it poverty alleviation. I asked you, the Obasanjo started with PAP. Can PAP quench your hunger? I'm asking you, look at PAP. It's called Poverty Alleviation Program. The question I asked, can PAP quench your hunger? Then they came up with NAPEP. And this particular administration loves sharing money, no doubt about that. And when you talk about the dangers of sharing money, the inflationary effect of sharing money, of pushing too much money into the economy, people who accuse you of being biased, of being partisan. Where is traders' money? The one they shared before the election. Where is traders' money? What impact? That the vice president almost lost his life, transversing the length and breadth of Nigeria, sharing money to market people. What impact has he had on the market? What impact has he had on the commodity price index of product? Now, this other one, when Keyamo came on here and said that they are going to employ 1,000, I'm looking for 1,000 people that were employed in my local government. I've lived in my own local government for more than 40 years. I've played politics to a certain extent in my local government. I know the actors and players of, there are 11 wards in my local government. I can tell you the boundary of my local government. So I know it like the back of my hand. I want to know the number of people that was employed in the Ifakoja local government, for example. Where are they? Where do they live? Which street? Which area? Are they from Ifako? Or are they from Iju? Or are they from New Okoba? Or are they from Ojokoro? I want to know. I've given you the 4 geopolitical zones in the Ifakoja local government. Forget about the nonsensical SCDA they created. I've given you that example. Now, where is the 1,000 from my local government? Who are the people that were employed? How many were employed from Iju? Iju has 3 wards. Ifako has 3 wards. New Okoba has 2 wards. And Ojokoro has 3 wards. That's 11 wards.
Now, where are the people that are employed from those areas? When people want to make money for themselves, they create a white elephant project. They said we are going to create 774 jobs, and you pay them 60,000. At the end of 3 months, what happens to them? And they will come, and the media will not grill them with good questioning. Rather, the media will ask them patronizing questions. You'll be patronizing them rather than putting them on hot seat. That's the problem. That's the problem. That's the problem. Part of the problem is that our own industry is not holding them accountable to it. And that's what Section 22, the second part of Section 22 of 1999 Constitution says, is that we shall be the watchdog and shall hold government accountable. How is it possible? Can Festus Keyamo employ his own children to be sweeping gutters? Or to be cleaning the streets? Is that the type of job you want to give to the youth? They didn't talk about sending them to computer village to go and learn about a trade. They didn't talk about creating technical education so that they send people to go and learn a particular trade. After that trade, you empower them with it. No, you want to dash them money. Look, I can tell you without fail that some people collected the money. Majority of the names on that list are fictitious. They are fictitious names because who audits?
Do you have evidence for that, Jide Johnson? Do you have evidence for your claims?
No, look, listen, look, the palliative money that was shared, just yesterday I read the report where one minister said 10 million people have been lifted out of poverty. The people just banded statistics. You're asking me for evidence. Did you ask them for their own evidence too? Their own physical evidence. The type of question you're asking me is the type of question an average journalist should be asking them when they go to press conferences. That's the question. Provide us with evidence. Only fools argue with facts, and evidence are fact-based. Now, has anybody came out? The minister said we have lifted 10 million people in 6 years out of poverty. Where is the evidence? We saw during the lockdown that the minister was sharing money the minister of social and humanitarian services. They were sharing money in Abuja. Is that how you run an economy? Where you pump money into the economy? That takes me to the story of what the banks were saying. Where did you see in anywhere in the world where people sell dollars, foreign currency on the street? Where do you see in anywhere in the world that you have a parallel market? Do you think that people that are engaging in currency trading will want the value of naira to improve? They won't want the value of naira to improve. Do you think that people that have stolen money, that have taken it abroad, that their assets are in dollars, will want the value of naira to match that of dollar? No way. No way. When we were young rather, the Ghanaian currency was worthless compared to the Nigerian currency. The CD was defended as toilet paper. That in 1983, we even asked the Ghanaian to leave our economy. Now what has happened to Ghana now? How many Ghanaian politicians do you think have stolen money abroad, like we repatriate money abroad? How many recovery have they made? I'm asking you, until we stop repatriation of funds to foreign countries, you see the value of naira can never improve, because those that have stolen money from this country and those that are making money from the parallel market will not want the value. Just imagine, I'm asking you, if the value of naira, a naira to a dollar, is, let's say it's 5 naira to a dollar. I'm throwing it to you. 5 naira to a dollar. What do you think will happen to all those people that have stolen money away from Nigeria? All the assets.
All right, Jide Johnson.
We saw the images. Let me end with this. We saw the images. The supposed leader of APC and the actual leader of APC. We saw both of them in London, taking medical treatment in London. That gives you an example of what is wrong with this country. And you're asking me, why would doctors not go on strike?
Thank you, Jide Johnson. We appreciate your enthusiasm and your opinion as always.
Thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be with you, but I'm looking for that job of doing the mic. So if you give me that job, I'm very, very glad.
Thank you very much, and we'll of course look forward to another Friday morning with you.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
All right, stay with us. Let's go back in history. I'm going to be sharing something, a very, very, very terrible attack on 2 ladies in 1967. Today in history, 13th of August.
I was going to share that, but yes, we'll be right back.
Are you ready to party right from the comfort of your TV screen? The Rundown's here to save the day. From freshly baked videos to the classics to the youngins and dope conversations, all in one chart. We got you covered. Just tune in to The Rundown every Friday, 10:30 p.m. West African time. The Rundown. Let's turn it up.
Welcome once again to the breakfast here on Plus TV Africa. And it's time for a little bit of history. I'm going back to the year 1967 to tell you about something that happened on this day. Well, the death of two young women, 19-year-old girls who lost their lives on this day, 1967, in a place called Montana's Glacier National Park. This is really, I would say, you know, things that happen mostly outside Nigeria. You would rarely ever get to see black people, you know, in situations like this, mostly because black people don't go to a national park or, you know, that kind of reserve and camp, you know, and put themselves in, you know, in a, I don't know what those things are called, where they, you know, get in under it and then zip it up. Those camping, you know, tents, exactly. That's not, you know, very common for black people. But on this day, 1967, two of them, their names, Julie Helgeson and Michelle Coons, were both murdered by grizzly bears. The bears had attacked them, you know, miles apart from each other while they were asleep in their tents. And, you know, their injuries led to both of them losing their lives. It also, of course, led to the, you know, change in policies. This is something that had never happened in 57 years that the park had been in existence. It also then led to the, you know, change in different policies to ensure that it never repeated itself. You know, at that time, there weren't rules, there weren't certain signs and warning signs, you know, in the park that, you know, told people where to go and what to do and, you know, what times of the day that you know, they were safe. And so all those things had to eventually come into play, you know, after, you know, these attacks. One of them, of course, according to reports, was dragged about 400 feet from the original campsite where she was mauled by the bear. It also says that the park and people in the park neglected certain signs at that time to protect people who visited the park until these attacks. And so, of course, it led to the you know, death of Julie Helgeson and Michelle Coons on this day in 1967.
This was a very sad story. Both of them, 19-year-olds, both of them went camping, you know, and it's unfortunate that, you know, even though they had been found alive, especially Kun, she eventually died from her injuries. Such a sad one. And the fact
there was
that the book was eventually written about that, The Night of the Grizzlies.
Yes.
Wow.
Really sad, you know, and once again, you know, it's really just white people stuff, because you would barely ever see, you know, African Americans or, you know, Nigerians putting themselves at that type of risk.
But why?
You know?
Why not?
Because we like life. You know, I think white people got to a place where, you know, a lot of the basic amenities and the things that they need for survival and to enjoy life are available. You know, they're there. And so they start to look for they start to look for ways that they can enjoy themselves that sometimes are a little bit risky. There are certain things that you see white people do and you're like, nah, not me. You see certain videos online and you never see a black person try that because nope. I don't
been there, done that.
Not been there, done that. It's just a nope, that's not me. You know, but white people really have so much, you know, privilege for just being, you know, white. Life is so easy, you know, so they start to look for more daring ways to excite themselves.
Do you know that if you are abroad, some people who can be very sensitive will say you're being racist? It's facts. It's not
But
racist. Do you realize that?
It is facts. It is simply facts. You know, they start to look for more ways to excite themselves, you know, because every other thing there is interesting. But black people, you know, the wala that we have to deal with every day is enough.
So I saw this comic by Trevor Noah. He says, talking about camping, he says, when he went to the US, his friend, you know, he comes from South Africa. He says his friends told him, oh, let's go camping. And he said, what's that? Oh, we'll go to the bush. We won't have access to water or electricity. He's like, but that's my reality back home. I left to escape.
It's pretty
Where am I going?
Pretty much, you know, you will rarely get to see, you know, this Jeff Bezos and
going camping?
No, not going camping now. Going out, you know, out of space, you know, to the border of, you know, space and all of that. You know, a lot of black people are like, nah, you know, we're good here.
Especially, I mean, the cost. Thousands of dollars?
The cost is inclusive. You know, bungee jumping, yeah, you might see some black people doing that. You might see some black people skydiving. But there's some really, really crazy things that I see.
What activities do you think we like here? Apart from partying?
We don't have the resources to enjoy on that level.
So we don't have resources to enjoy?
No, we don't. We don't have the resources to enjoy tourism on that level.
I feel hurt.
That's why. You know, that's why, you know, there's, funny enough, if you go to South Africa, which I've never been, but you will see there's things called shark cages where, you know, you get into a cage. It is, you know, tourism.
I wish you all the best.
And you go deep into the water, a couple of feet into the water where there's sharks swimming around, just to enjoy, you know, the scenario.
Say hello to them for me. Let's talk about the first woman Marine in United States history, 1918. Her name is Offa. She was 40 years old, and she achieved this feat 2 years before women even had the right to vote. So it's a pretty straightforward story. A woman in history who, you know, had that remarkable feat of going ahead to enlist as a U.S. Marine. The good thing is that she joined the Marine Corps Reserve on the 13th of August, 1918. She was the first of over 300 women to enlist in the Marine Corps Reserve, and that's during the First World War. Jackson's first duties was as a clerk at the headquarters Marine Corps. She managed records of other female reservists who joined after she did. At the end of the First World War, unfortunately, like all other services, they began a process of disenrollment. But history will forever remember the name of Offa May Johnson as the first female Marine Corps in the United States.
All right, and of course over time that has changed. There's a lot of more females who join the Marine Corps and go to war even, and they celebrate her every now and then. So she's a pace setter, and thanks for her service, I guess. All right.
Let's take a break here, and we'll return to discuss the cost of the ban on Twitter in Nigeria. It's going on for about 2 months now. The federal government says that ban would be lifted soon. But just how much have the Nigerian government, have the Nigerian people especially, and Nigerian businesses lost in that time? Stay with us.
This madam has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
When I start hearing the shoot of gun,
whatever I've done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
For me, I wanted to change that culture. I didn't believe that until you see a white man or you see a foreigner in the kitchen before you can believe that, you know, good food is going to come out of that kitchen.
You can leverage on each other's spaces and, you know, sell. We believe in Nigeria, right? We believe that Nigeria can get better. We, the youth, are the ones that can make it better.
And my products are proudly made in Nigeria.
Made in Nigeria, showing every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. and repeats on Saturday at 8:30 a.m.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges. The growing youth population with little engagement, that is a ticking time bomb. We are a blessed people with diverse culture and highly cerebral minds who have a lot to say. And yes, we are talking. It is important we drive the right conversation that informs, inspires, influences thoughts and action. If we say there's beauty in our diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture. We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation as we are the hope for the future. Yesterday's conversations shape today. What are you saying to shape your tomorrow? We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
There has to be a decision point. The way your baby is presenting, we have to rush you in. And my partner at the time was like, "You going to cut her? Are you going to cut her? Is it going to leave a scar?" And I said, "Am I a belly dancer? What is the problem here?"
No, I'm vulnerable about the future of the children, the future of mine and the future of the generation of my children.
I want to have nude pictures taken. Of you? Yes, but without showing my private parts. I want to put it in my front room. And they said, "You can't do that. People will be embarrassed when they came into your house." I said, "Well, it's my body and it's my front room."
All the things that we do, what is the purpose of it?
I just realized that I was more trusting before I was 6.
So many women, they just feel like I have to cook for my husband, I have to breastfeed my children, I have to pick them from school.
Because society expects
them. Then you
them
go home and you cry and you stop your career, you can't do anything, then you blame everybody. You took that choice.
Welcome back to The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. Our first major conversation for today is going to be talking about the plans to, of course, unban Twitter in Nigeria. But before that, how much has that cost the Nigerian economy and the Nigerian people in the 69 or 70 days since the ban was put in place? We're speaking this morning with Nasser Agbalaya, who's joining us. He's a business editor. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, guys.
Thanks for joining us. All right, the estimates, according to reports, it says that Nigeria has lost about 169 billion naira from the ban on Twitter. The government, of course, has stated that that ban will be lifted very soon. They've also given, certain conditions that they hope that Twitter will be able to meet, as they get into, lifting the ban or the suspension on Twitter. I want you to share your thoughts, first of all, on what that ban has cost Nigeria, Nigeria's economy and Nigerian people for the last 70 days?
Great to be on the show, guys. Well, first, it has cost Nigerians more than we expected. We know that, we all know that many people use Twitter as a means of reaching out to the general public. Now, this affects more people in the medium and micro entrepreneurship scale. Now, they don't have big budgets to and have big teams to manage their advertising. But on Twitter, just a mere tweet can reach up from 50 to 500 individuals. So now that space has been reduced. Now this has caused a lot of job losses also for people in this sector. Now even multinationals in Nigeria also have been affected. Even broadcast houses also were affected. Though yes, so we know that many people had been using is out there. So for that reason, many people have been reluctant to use this.
All right, we seem to be having a glitch with the network, speaking with Mr. Agbalaya. As we wait for reconnection, once again, the conversation is about how much Nigeria has truly lost, the cost of the ban on Twitter, the suspension of Twitter in Nigeria. And how much of a toll that has taken on Nigerian businesses, online businesses. Initially we had started with, had conversations about what people really were able to achieve simply by having a Twitter account. Mr. Agbalaya, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. Please go ahead.
So as I was saying earlier, the cost for Nigeria is not just only about the financial aspect. Now, many people, of course, have not been earning what they were earning before. Now, many people have lost a digital presence. The mileage which many Nigerian firms have had also has not been there anymore. The government on their part also were affected. For instance, NBS, the Bureau of Statistics, usually announces new rates on Twitter. This has not been happening since the ban. So now everybody needs to wait on their websites when we receive email alerts from them, which is not as fast as when Dr. Yemi Kale tweets, this is the new inflation, this is what is happening with PMI. Instantly, Nigerians get it, media houses get it, the whole world knows. Now that has been removed. Also, even the government themselves, they announce information on the social media handle, on their social media handles. This has been reduced. We're really hoping that this proposed cancellation of the ban will happen much sooner.
Okay, Agbalaya, there's a post here. It basically goes on to talk about just how much financially Nigeria has lost in terms of, the Twitter ban. I want you to help us break this down, like where these monies are being lost from. Would that be from ad revenues? Would that be the cost of, goods and services that must have been purchased through businesses that are on Twitter? Where exactly, that fund really is coming from? Is it in terms of, network providers, the fact that maybe data subscriptions, the fact that they've been cut off from accessing Twitter? Can you help us put traces of where exactly these funds have been lost?
Sincerely, you hit the nail on the head. Now, those who didn't lose so much really are the telcos. Come what may, we still need to get data. As we are right now, we are using data for this particular interview. Now, they have not lost so much compared to that person who has maybe a salon that can reach out to his or her customer, to that person who needs to sell this wig or that other commodity. Now, those individuals, that's medium and micro scale entrepreneurs, are the ones who lost the most. Many people have not been able to keep their staff. Early in July, I had an interview with a music producer. The young man has a growing outfit. Now, he had to let go of some of his staffs that hopefully when business improves, he will take them on again. Now, that story cut across not just Lagos or Abuja.
It's unfortunate we're having that glitch there with Mr. Agbalaya, business editor at New Central TV. But really, I find it important for us to be able to pinpoint exactly, where we're losing money and how exactly we can fix it. I think it's great news that the federal government and Twitter have been able to sit down together to discuss the terms of, the resolution. But when we look at some of these agreements, Lai Mohammed mentioned that it's not a matter of what, it's a matter of when, because according to him, Twitter has agreed to fulfill these conditions, which include that they must register with the Corporate Affairs Commission, the CAC, that they must register with the Broadcast Organization of Nigeria, the NBC, that they must work with the FIRS, lots and lots of conditions there, especially with registering or having a Nigerian office. So I still want us to be able to look at the flip side and see, like I asked the question to one of our guests yesterday, does Nigeria benefit anything at the long run, when we look at the other side of this Twitter ban? Mr. Agbalaya, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
So I want you to finish up your thoughts regarding the losses that Nigerians have incurred during the duration of the Twitter ban, and also to look at the flip side, if Nigeria as a government might have gained anything. Maybe the office that is scheduled to come up 2022, and the fact that they've said that they must employ a Nigerian director, is that good for economy? The fact that they say they must now work with the FIRS and that they might be taxable. So when you finish talking about the cost, also talk about possible benefits for the Nigerian economy.
Well, when Twitter was recruiting, the focus of those individuals from the JDs, they had interest in Nigeria. So opening an office in Nigeria has always been part of Twitter's plan. It is not new for Twitter. So getting the country rep for them is like a walk in the park. For the government, it might be a win because they have been mulling, taxing more multinational, particularly those in the tech space. Yes, and that has been included in the Financial Act 2020. Yet this is a win for them, getting more revenues. But that is not new. We knew that will happen along the line. And even many multinationals have been bracing up that African nations will be taxing them more. But the major win is for the average Nigerian. This is the platform where people have been able to air their views, do business. Even people have been able to get admissions. So having Twitter back in Nigeria would greatly enhance the potentials of the average Nigerian.
All right. Well, let's talk about the use of VPN now, and how, in any way, if that helped, with cushioning the effects of the Twitter suspension in Nigeria. Did that save some of these businesses in any way, or was that not enough?
Yes and no. Yes, at the initial stage, it helps some businesses, but only those who could afford to pay the premium which this VPN have been charging. So the main winners there are the VPN service providers, which incidentally are not usually based in Nigeria. Most of them are based in Europe, particularly Western Europe. They are the winners of this particular ban, not Nigerians, because many people who went for those free VPN services are at risk. Because how will those people make their money? They can only make their money by selling those people's data, which of course is a privacy breach. So the main winners is not Nigerian because using VPN, unless you have a particular smartphone, which the latest model has installed VPN.
Well, you were talking about the pre-installed VPNs on some new model phones?
Some new phones have pre-installed VPN.
Okay.
A particular model. I don't want to do free adverts for any brand, but really there's a premium brand in Nigeria currently that has pre-installed VPN, and those who have that particular phone or the models in that brand can access the internet despite the ban.
Okay. So now, was there any? And what are your thoughts on the fact that there didn't seem to be any consideration of the losses that were possible before the suspension of Twitter in Nigeria? The Nigerian government didn't think of how much money was likely to be lost by this suspension. Or what do you think Twitter was? Nigeria was at so much of a risk, through Twitter, that the possible losses were, not considered.
Nigeria was never at any serious risk, but this particular trend, it's not new. Eswatini, Gambia, it had been happening even in India and China. Many nations, to put their agenda, the government have been restricting access to the internet. It isn't new. I'm assuming that is one of the reasons why some smartphones have installed VPN. See, it's a knee-jerk reaction for the Nigerian government. They did it to protest what Twitter did, removing President Buhari's quote. But that has been happening even in America, where Twitter is from. Former President Donald Trump, his tweet was also deleted. They weren't banned there because it was, the comments there then in that particular tweet was against Twitter's policy. So when it happened here, Nigerians were not surprised, but the government felt slighted, felt offended, and sought a redress how they thought was best. So yes, they were not considering the aftermath, but after Nigerians protested and even went online, started continuing using Twitter via VPNs, they rescinded that it's no longer a ban, but now a suspension. Yeah. And even the lawmakers also heard the cries of the masses and are waiting on it. So now we're seeing the reality that yes, they are considering and they intend to lift the suspension, which is a win for democracy.
So, Mr. Agbalaya, how I see it is this: the federal government bans Twitter. What happens is that SMEs lose revenue. Nigerians go ahead and use VPNs, and they risk, privacy breach and data theft. So, all around, it seems that Nigerian businesses really lost, whether it was financial or otherwise.
Definitely. It's a sad reality that this brought in a particular new business. A sort of Twitter-like social media site came into Nigeria at this period, from India, that allows a multi-language, using many languages to pass your information across. But it has not caught on. People are not really into it as much as they expect. But they even went so far as using or taking President Muhammadu Buhari as their brand ambassador. A bold move on their part, but it has not caught on as Twitter and the other social media which Nigerians are used to. But who knows, maybe after the ban is lifted, where people can now weigh each social media handle and see, oh, wow, I can get this from here, I can get this service from there. Maybe that will catch on also, and Nigerians will have more options of where to...
Yes, that's exactly where I was going. First of all, with Ku, I downloaded Ku. I used it for a while, but it didn't quite give me that satisfaction of a social media platform that I was looking for.
That's what I'm saying.
As a perfect substitute for Twitter. So, that's I had to let that go. But looking in hindsight with what exactly happened to the Nigerian economy and Nigeria's social interaction with the ban on Twitter, do you think that we should begin to see or expect more investment, into tech and, maybe the emergence of Nigerian, innovators creating more social platforms that are local and, homegrown?
More investment in tech is an ongoing discussion that would not stop. Like, the reality is this: Nigeria, Sub-Saharan Africa, not only the whole African continent, is rich with intellectuals, with people who have ideas, and not just ideas, who have the technical know-how to actually make things happen. For instance, look at all these startups that are starting across Africa. They're not just starting, they are getting more and more funding. And a startup starts in Nigeria, ventures to Ghana, to Kenya, or another one starts in South Africa, moves to Namibia, comes to Nigeria. This is showing a trend that African startups are sought after. We all know what happened to Flutterwave. We all know how well they have grown, and many other startups in Nigeria, even in Kenya, even in Egypt. So this shows that Africa has what it takes. Now, for Europeans who are bringing money here, they know that they can make more money by investing in this startup. These are millennials and Gen Zs who have ideas, who just need some funding. But the good thing for them is they get to repatriate their funds back to Europe or Asia or wherever those funds from. But that's a loss for us in a way, because that would encourage a degree of capital flight. So it's better if we can get more Nigerians or more Africans investing in these startups across Africa.
Okay. Is it also important in this time to hear from Twitter itself with regards to the agreements that they have with the Nigerian government? Because we've heard the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, make these claims of their agreements, saying that Twitter has agreed on this and that and that. But would it be also important to know Twitter's side, and understand, what conclusions and what agreements they also have with the Nigerian government with regards to lifting the suspension?
Fairly said. But right now, Twitter is not responding. But we do hope that Twitter, me personally, will come out with a statement to either confirm or deny what the Nigerian government have been saying. But as it is, we need to just take it as it is. It could be true. It could be a bit not so true. But it's the only information we have as of now. It is possible that they will have an office in Nigeria. Like I mentioned earlier, during their recruitment process, a good number of those roles they recruited for, a particular caveat was there, having knowledge of the politics and polity in Nigeria. So it shows that Nigeria is part of the Twitter scope in Africa. They know that many Nigerians tweet and are very active online. And also, I mentioned something about startups. Many startups are active on Twitter. Now, so a degree of initial proposals are sent via Twitter to venture capitalists. So it's an important tool to be active in Nigeria.
Okay, so lastly, before I let you go, let's talk a bit about censorship, because, this whole began when Twitter deleted a tweet by the president. And if Twitter's coming back, they're having lots of, agreements. Do you think one of them might include some form of media censorship? Because I know that Lai Mohammed has also said that Twitter has to be careful because it seemed like they were sponsoring or allowing protest movements to go on their platforms. But do you think when Twitter comes back, there will be some form of firewall in the sense that you can't post certain content relating to protests, relating to things like that seem to be anti-government? Do you think that sort of thing might happen?
I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it. If it didn't happen in America, it did not happen in India, I don't see it happening here. Twitter has made this policy that the platform is for free speech. I remember a while ago, I can't remember which particular election it is, a particular Nigerian millionaire went to contest for a state election. I believe it was in Ondo State. What's the man's name? Now, when he came on Twitter, he was bullied. He was critically bullied. An unfortunate incident, but such things do happen. Now, the Twitter policy had not kicked in then, this particular one. A lot of people who incidentally were not using their real names, because most of those handles had like parodies of one person or the other, bullied him. Exactly, and bots. I assume that those particular attack was maybe had no facts. Maybe it was a sponsored attack and discouraged him from reaching out to young voters, but it works. He went back into his shell. So yeah, that is one reason why I would say that Twitter had this policy, so that people can express their views freely without being intimidated. Because many people have enough money or friends who are active online who can, unfortunately, muzzle any dissent or any opposing voices, which is not good for politics or business.
All right. Nasser Agbalaya, thank you so much for your time and for speaking with us this morning. Wish you a great weekend ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely.
So,
Coming up next,
sports.
Yes.
Big sports news recently, talking about Lionel Messi and why did you react that way? You're not a fan?
I am a fan.
Your bias is so obvious, man.
I am a huge fan.
I will talk about Romelu Lukaku and his move back to Chelsea. Stay with us.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the Babin, I pay my rent. On the Babin, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, they go beat you. Now 2,500 they pay.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the result of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, Abi.
I am not hungry. If I need appointment, all I need to do is to start praising government.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say. The moment we stop having charlatans occupy political offices, we will curtail hate speech.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the Babin, I pay my rent. On the Babin, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa.
Welcome to The Breakfast.
A breakfast where we unbundle top and big stories of the day.
Is vaccine the only way out of this pandemic?
No, definitely not. Many Ghanaians just want a peaceful election and they are hoping there will be no rigging.
There is nothing bad in borrowing for infrastructure. The minister added that he was impressed.
Please come and see yourself what we are doing with the money we have borrowed.
It's very important. The way we brand ourselves is the way people will carry us.
It's just the driver of the two vehicles that were completely done.
This one was here screaming.
What do you recommend the government do to support this sector?
Direct intervention, that's what every government all over the world has done.
We are not a parallel security structure. A Motepu core is a complementary core.
What I will not encourage Christians to do is to carry dagger and follow anybody. No.
Join us on The Breakfast, 7 a.m., Monday to Friday.
Welcome back to The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. A beautiful Friday. We love Fridays because we get to catch up on all the latest updates in the world of sports. Joining us this morning is our sports anchor and correspondent, Wally Scott. Good morning.
Good morning, Anza.
The European League resumes.
Give us English
all
Premier
the
League,
yes. Give us all the gist.
I don't know. Apart from the fact that Messi has taken away all of the saga, and Lionel Messi was conveniently able to actually sell almost 200,000 jerseys in 7 minutes. I've never seen that happen before.
Say that again.
He sold almost 200,000 jerseys in 7 minutes.
And you have haters like Osalge? I don't believe
No, I don't particularly like Messi either.
Wow.
I don't like him, but he was able to do that. And I think what Paris Saint-Germain was able to do was look at the business angle of it. When you buy a player like Messi, a player like Ronaldo, you are sure of making a large amount of the money you spent on him.
Especially
how his jersey sales.
Especially how you go about commercializing that.
Yes, on his jersey, it's normal. You know, and you'll find out that a player like Messi, who has gone to PSG now, you will see his Nike jersey. You will see his Nike jersey too, the fake one.
Nike.
You know, but go to the EPL. Go to the EPL, you know, and the English Premier League has conveniently been able to do something that most other leagues haven't done. They give you a blank check. They don't price. They don't price you anymore. You tell them you're 100 million. We'll pay 100 million, no problem. And we saw the difference in what they were doing when Manchester City and Chelsea got to the Champions League finals. 2 English clubs in the Champions League finals. 1 English club in the Europa League finals, mind you. Lost to Villarreal. So, which means basically that they are doing something right. Now they've gone to the market again today. And they've bought everybody that matters. The only person that matters right now in the leagues across the world who has not been bought by the English Premier League right now as we speak is Erling Haaland. Everybody else has been bought, you know, as in Jadon Sancho, the miracle of 2 years ago, is in Manchester United right now. Varane, veterinary, legendary World Cup winner, is in Manchester United with Paul Pogba. Another World Cup winner with Anthony Martial, another World Cup winner. You know, we're looking at Romelu Lukaku, who was scoring like it was going out of fashion when he was in Inter Milan. He's now in Chelsea. You know, and these clubs are giving...
And they cut their coats according to
their size. They have their respect for themselves, you know. So really, they only have whites, and they play Brentford. Brentford is a team that's just coming from relegation to the Premier League. So they shouldn't have a problem. You know, but we've always known Arsenal to be a team that is very wasteful. But the good thing is, on my show later, Plus Sports, we're having Mikel Arteta, the coach, talking about the fact
that's why we went.
But Manchester United too will scare anyone too. The gym try and impress Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so that will scare you too. Chelsea really scares me because I saw something of 15 years. Really.
Wow.
They won't. Other players who are injured to come back. You can't. When the players that were injured were there, what did they do? So come on, I don't see that happening.
Interesting. So let's talk about one of the most prolific strikers in European football, Romelu Lukaku, the transfer news to Chelsea. What about that? What do you think? Expectations?
Honestly, I don't think the average Chelsea fan is going to like me right now. Because the truth is, I go to see Lukaku going to Chelsea and flop. What Abramovich wants is another Didier Drogba. And of course, physically, Lukaku fits that. On the ball, he fits that. But will he be able to score the way Drogba scores? I don't think so. I don't know why I feel like that. I don't think so. But what Abramovich wants is he sees everything in Drogba. And don't forget that Lukaku is going back to Chelsea. Yeah. He used to be in Chelsea. You know, so I think Abramovich, the owner of Chelsea, just has this funny feeling that I lost a Drogba. Let me get my Drogba back. He just might not be the Drogba.
Okay.
He has the physical presence, he has the strength on the ball, he has the speed. He's been in the Premiership all his life, his career, so yes, he can. He's used to it.
What would you say was, you know, the key to his success at Inter Milan?
I have no idea. But I know for one that Inter Milan, the Italian Serie A, the league, they are more defensive. So you can catch them on the counter. And because Lukaku is coming from the English Premier League, he can run. And he has the physique, he can hold on to the ball and run. And then a league that depends on defense, and somebody who comes with a counter all the time with you, he will always score. But you are going back to the English Premier League where they ordinarily know you can come on the counter. So they are waiting for you already. You know, you just might not make it happen there.
Interesting. So,
obviously, I was in Rome. I can imagine a Ronaldo respecting a Messi or a Messi and told him, I will never respect you. Unfortunately, the coach then was Portuguese, Jose Mourinho. Ronaldo
stadium, you know, so does that also give a breather with regards?
COVID-19 protocols have been taken at the stadiums across the world, and most people who are going to be there will have to get there either with their certificates, during the Europa. That happens, of course, the crowd leave the events again. But for now, they will have a crowd. But like tomorrow,
a lot of people are excited about the new season start.
Records were broken. Bayelsa United and Bayelsa Queens, for the first time in the history of Nigeria, won the cup at the same time.
Thank you.
The female
Thanks
and the
for
male.
putting the enemies to shame. Scott's at 9:30 a.m. today when he gives you sports. But on The Breakfast, I am Ineza Felix saying thank you for watching.
And I am Osaogi Ogbawan. See you at night.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to